Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all my Battleguard Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for September 2019. For those of you that remember the Battleguards, they were originally a series of two monsters that were used by Joey Wheeler in the original anime, Swamp Battleguard and Lava Battleguard. And since they received more support from the Arc 5 series, it was actually in the first booster pack for Arc 5. It was the first duel that Yugioh went up against for his entertainment career. Very interesting deck. The whole point of the deck is to use the spell and traps to basically protect and quickly get out your Battleguard monsters, and then focus on your main boss monster being Battleguard King, which can achieve multiple attacks, and also using the spell and traps, which can bounce your opponent's monsters back to their hand instead of sending them to the graveyard. I really do like the results that came from this deck profile, so let's go ahead and get started with the video. So to start off, for your main monster, I run 3 Battleguard King. The big, strong boss monster of the deck. Once per turn, you can tribute any number of warrior-type monsters except this card. For each tributed monster, this card gains 1 additional attack during each battle phase. So being a 3,000 attack point monster, like I said, he's your boss monster of the deck, so you definitely want to get him out very quickly. That's why I focused on a bunch of different warrior monsters that can easily special summon themselves out to the field, and then also just relying on a few other techs with the extra deck to help, just to speed along the special summon process and just the search for your warrior monsters. Now more for the nostalgic Battleguards, I run 3 Swamp Battleguard. This one was the one that was originally used by Joey himself. He was the one, I think he actually got into an argument with Tristan over which of the Battleguards was better. Him siding with Swamp Battleguard. It increased the attack of this monster by 500 points for every face-up Lava Battleguard on your side of the field. So that is the counterpart. That also gains attack depending on if you have a few Swamp Battleguards on the field. Also, this one is the stronger of the two, having 1,800 attack and 1,500 defense, while Lava Battleguard has the almost opposite points, which I also run 3 of. This Lava Battleguard was given to Joey by Tristan. I can honestly not remember if he took it because Tristan said to try it out in the deck and then they got into the fight. I believe that's what happened. It's the weaker of the two, having a stronger defense as well. But like I said, with more and more Lava and Swamp Battleguards you get out into the field, you have just more and more, beefed up monsters on the field as well. And the biggest debate for the video will be which of the two is better. Which one do you side with as the cooler looking Battleguard? Both of them work together though as the main sole focus of the deck. For additional level 5 monsters to work with our main spell card in the deck, which is Feast of the Wild level 5, I am also running 3 Super Quantum Red Layer, just because if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use each effect of Red Layer once per turn. The main focus, since it's not a Super Quant deck, is just because it's an easy special summon out onto the field if need be, because you have to tribute for your Battleguard monsters, but also just because it's another level 5 option available with the decks, since Feast of the level 5 special summons up to 2 level 5 warrior monsters from your hand, so you can even get out that way and then have exceed options with your 2 level 5 monsters on the field. So I just like to run that additional level 5 option as well in the deck along with Lava and Swamp Battleguards. For some easier monsters to get out, even if it's just for tribute fodder, I run 3 Junk Forward. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Just being, like I said, another easy monster to special summon out to the field. And then if you need to tribute summon one of your Battleguard monsters, you can then easily do so with the 3 Junk Forward in the deck. And the same goes for the 3 Heroic Challenger Assault Halberd. With this one, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if it attacks a defense monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. And when the card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can add 1 heroic card from your deck to your hand. So you can even search Assault Halberd, which is the main point, just to add more and more to your hand to use with this card. But it's another easy special summon for the tribute factor for the deck, relying on Junk Forward and Assault Halberd also just for the link options to go into Assault, which its special summon effect and search effect definitely do come in handy in the deck as well. And that is it for the main deck. Was focusing, like I said, solely on warrior monsters and then just the level 5 premise. You really do need your spell cards to help speed up a lot of this as well. For these spells, I run 3 Feast of the Wild level 5. You special summon up to 2 level 5 warrior monsters from your hand and or graveyard, but their effects are negated. Also, they cannot attack, so you're limited with that, of course, but the main focus of this is to give you monsters on the field to use for Battleguard King for his tribute, or just, even to tribute summon this card out onto the field. So relying on the Feast of Level Wild 5 and having 3 of it definitely does come in handy. It's not a once per turn either, so remember that if you have the setup as well from your hand, then just being able to rely on the graveyard, come again when you use the King for the tribute out onto the field. And I also run the 1 Monster Reborn, just another easy way to get cards back onto the field. Unlike Feast of the Wild level 5, Monster Reborn is limited to what you can, attack with, or if their effects are negated or not, which Feast of the Wild level 5 does, so another useful one for sure. And I also run the 2 double summon. This helps just to set up more monsters on the field for my extra deck plays if need be with this card as well, or if I'm just one short from getting out one of the big boss monsters out to the field. And I also run 1 Reinforcements of the Army. You can't get any of the Battle Guards with this card, but you can still get Junk Forward and also Assault Halberd with this card. So just more search options if you need one of those special summons if you open up too many of your Battle Guard monsters. And then, like I said, since we are running Isolde in the extra deck, relying on the equip spells, I decided to run 5 equip spells just because if we get lucky and don't open any in our hand but can make Isolde, that's enough to special summon out one of the Battle Guards to the field as well, depending on how many we summon out. So I run the 1 Moonmere Shield, the 1 Living Fossil, the 1 DDR Different Dimension Reincarnation, 1 Phoenix Blade, and I also run 1 Magnum Shield. When you actually open up the Magnum Shield, it definitely does come in handy with our Battle Guards on the field just to beef up their attack or defense depending on what position they're in. And also, like I said, if you do open up some or 1 or 2 of the swords in your hand, you still have the option to special summon out, let's say, Junk Forward or Assault Halberd onto the field. It's when you open up the 3 in your hand that you have to be worried, because then that's when you definitely opened up a bad hand. And I also run the 1 Monarch Stormforth. You can switch around this with the double summons if you just want to use your opponent's resources more for the Battle Guards tributes if you wish. Just up your numbers and take out the double summons to add more of this card into the deck if you want to. And that is it for the spells. When I move on to the traps, I run 3 Battleguard Rage, a continuous trap. Activate this card by targeting 1 warrior monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack. Monsters destroyed by battle with it are returned to the hand instead of going to the graveyard. And when that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So just a true powerhouse card to equip on to your Battleguard King. The main focus being that return to the hand effect with this as well. Putting it at 4,000 attack and having this card have multiple attacks is also definitely scary as well when you get those tributes off. So running 3 of this just adds, like I said, 2 power up those monsters on the field. And I also run 3 Battleguard Howling. When a warrior type monster you control is targeted for an attack or by an opponent's monster effect, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of the face-up monster you target with this effect, and return it to the hand. So another bounce effect with this one, and just a great way to rely on, going up against your opponent and just any monster they try and dish out against you with this card. And lastly, to finish off the main deck, I run 3 Call by the Haunted, just with all the options and all the tributing we do for our Battleguard King. And once again, when we rely on the Feast of the Wild level 5, if we go for our, let's say, Exceed plays or extra deck plays, it leaves us with more and more of the Battle Guards in the graveyard. Or if you just even want to revive your maybe fallen Battleguard King, there's no summon restrictions on this card, so you can completely rely on Call of the Haunted to bring this card back to the field as well. So definitely very, very helpful with that also. And that is it for the main deck. When I move on to the extra deck, I run 1 Isolde, the Tale of Noble Knights. You can add in an additional one if you just have fear of Effect Veiler or Ghost Ogre, you name it, with this card. But it works for the equip spells to get the special summon out into the field, but it also gives you the option for special summoning out using and sending your, obviously, your different equip spells to the graveyard. And also with the Phoenix Blade, having the power to banish warrior monsters to add back to your hand just helps for more recycle for you to equip that spell onto some of your warrior monsters. And also, like I said, Magnum Shield being the main focus as well, we're another equip to your monsters. So if you want to run an additional assault, you can take out the 1 Acacic Magician. I have it in here just for the bounce effect, and just since we all run warrior monsters in this deck, just another useful card to go into. And I also run 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, and also 2 Mrs. Radiance. The majority of the cards I run on the deck are Earth, mostly focused on the Battleguard monsters, so being able to bump them up attack-wise even more, or just add them back to my hand when Mrs. Radiance sent to the graveyard also does help. I also run 1 Security Dragon, 1 Underclock Taker, and then for the Link 3s, I run 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Triple Burst Dragon, 1 Decode Talker, and then for the boss monster, 1 Boral Sword. When the option comes up, it definitely does come in handy. And then for the Exceed monsters, like I said, we run a good number of level 5s. So for the rank 5s, I run 1 Tyrus, Keeper of Genesis, just a good card just to take on your opponent as a bigger boss monster for your rank 5s. Also 1 Zen Mao to handle the back row, and 1 Volcasaurus for more burn damage against your opponent as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. That was one of my more interesting deck profiles that I took on. But once again, if you're a fan of either of the Battleguards, let me know in the comments down below which one you prefer and why. And until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.